Hi there, we're just waiting to see if anybody's going to join us. If you jump on, let me know who's here. I do apologize, it was supposed to be a class yesterday, but I did have to cancel it. I had something unexpected come up that I had to deal with. But we are here today. There were a few kits left at the store. This is a very nice one, and you can use it for whatever you want. I'll just give it another minute, and then we'll get going. As always, these are recorded, so you can certainly jump on and see it at any time. And I'm just noticing in the I forgot to change the title yesterday when I changed the date, so it's still saying February 15th in the title, but it is scheduled for today. So if you want to say hi, just let me know you're here. That would be terrific. This is a beautiful line from Simple Stories, and it is called Simple Vintage Love Story. It's a line from last year, I believe, but it is still so gorgeous. So I was very excited to work with it because it was a line that I did not purchase. So it was fantastic that I had it. So we're going to jump in. If anybody has any questions, just let me know. So in your kit, you would have got a little bundle of items. Now, my second page isn't going to look exactly like this one because I only had the one package of embellishments. So the ones that I pulled out for this page are already used, but that's okay because there's loads of embellishments and you can still cut from the paper. So there's loads of things that you can do. So I'm just going to set this one aside. I'm actually going to pop it up in front of me so that I can keep an eye on it. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm showing half sheets, but I think Heather told me that she went ahead and put full sheets in your package. So extra bonus. And for those that like double pages, then you're going to have lots left over to do a second page to accompany this first page, or you'll have lots left over for cards. And I did make 4 cards with my leftovers, which I will share with you at the end. So right now we're going to cut apart. You just need 1 row. So if you got a full sheet, that's okay, but we just need 1 row of the tags, and you can pick whichever row you want, and we're just going to cut those apart. And I did sew on my page. Sewing is certainly optional, but I do enjoy pulling out the sewing machine and doing a little stitching. And I am not a sewer by no means, so the stitching is rough. So I'm just going to cut my corners off. I'll pick up my scraps here in a minute. Thanks for joining me, the few that are on. Don't be shy. You can say hello. I did not ink on this page, but you're more than welcome to pull out an ink. I would use probably antique linen or vintage photo, old paper. I kind of use those kinds if I was going to ink. If you're just joining, our first step to this page, so this is our page, and there were some kits left the last time I looked. I don't know if there are any more, but this is what we're going to recreate. My embellishments on my page today will be different than these ones, because of course I used them for this page, but the page itself will be similar. And I did add some stitching on mine. You can or you cannot. That's totally up to you. Anytime that we do anything, don't be afraid to veer from my instructions for sure, because that's the fun. Now while we're at it, I am going to punch the holes out. Lots of beautiful stuff in Angela. I can just imagine tonight will be with Ricky and Lucy, I believe. So I can't wait to see what they have in. Because sometimes they're sneaky, right? Sometimes they have it and they don't have it on the story yet, so you see it. Beautiful new, yeah. Doesn't have to be new to be beautiful, that's for sure. I was saying this paper line I think was from last season, and I love it very much. Oh, thank you, Angela. You're very, very sweet. So this, like I said, if you pick up a kit, I think Heather told me she put full sheets in. I told her she only needed to put half sheets. But if you got full sheet, extra bonus. But that's why you see me with half, because I used half for my page and then this other half to recreate. So the next thing, I'm just going to put my paper to the side. You'll have a piece that's either this lighter pink rouge or this darker one. And this one, I think it was called Rouge Honey. Yep, it's yellow on the back. And then this one here is called Ruby Mint. But it doesn't matter which piece you got, it's the red or the pink that we're going to be using. I'm just going to cut my barcode off, and I have my trimmer to the side, but I think for this next step I'll see if I can bring it in. So a really cool way to save on paper, or if you don't have a lot of something. So I only have the one sheet of this paper, this Rouge Honey, but I knew that I wanted to draw more of it in to the layout. So what I actually did is I cut the center of it out, and then that ended up being an extra piece of that color for me to incorporate on the page, because we were only covering it all anyway. So I do that a lot, especially if it's a beautiful paper that I want to incorporate it back in. I only have one sheet. I'll often cut out the center. So to do that, it is not difficult, and you cannot mess it up unless you cut right through, and then you still can't mess it up, because you could always piece it back together with washi tape. So I'm putting it into my trimmer at 1.5. I'm going to stand up. Actually, it's 1 1/4, and I'm going to start up here at 1.5. So I found my marker, and I push down at the 1.5, and then I'm going to come all the way down, because I want to leave another 1.5. So I'm going to come down to 10.5. And depending on what kind of trimmer you use, your blade will have little markers that will tell you when you've landed. And then I just pick it up and I'm going to turn it back at the 1 1/4. I'm going to come back up here and back down to the 10 1/2. And if you don't quite match up, that's okay, because we can scissor it out at the end. One 1/4 and 10 1/2. Because really all we need is a bit of a frame to start with, or at least that's all I need for this layout. And if you have lots of the paper and you don't mind, then feel free to leave it in there. Okay, so I'm going to put my trimmer to the side. And I'm just going to take my scissors and snip it where I didn't quite meet. This one I was a ways by a little bit, so there. So this ends up being an extra piece of that cardstock that we're going to incorporate on the page. So there's my frame. The next thing we're going to grab is the 4x6 elements. So it would be this one here. And this is the one I used in my last layout, so I might use one different. So what we're going to do is cut it right in two. So you want to make sure you're cutting on this side, so that you're going to just cut it right in two. So you can cut off the barcode. I do have instructions for myself. And then you're going to cut it right in two, which is 6 by 12. But it is directional, so just make sure that when you cut, you have two pieces. So now decide which part you want to keep for your pocket up here. So I think this time I'm going to do this one, P.S. I love you. So I'm going to cut that one out. And I'm going to put that one to the side, and then I'm going to put the rest of this over. No, I'm wrong. I'm going to take this one that I didn't cut from, and I'm going to trim it down to 5 by 11. And it's this side that we're using. So I'm going to trim my 11 first. And then I'm going to trim it down to 5. And it doesn't matter which way you cut, because it's this side that I'm going to use. Hi Erin, it's nice to see you. It did turn out to be a pretty layout. So I know from looking at my layout, this piece is going to go on the bottom. So we need a piece for here. So you're going to find the paper called Our Story, and it's this and this. It's actually the flowers that we're going to use, and we're going to cut out another piece, 5 by 11. And keep all your scraps. That's what I made the cards out of, was these scraps that I'm cutting off. And we won't make the cards, but I'll walk through them with you. And then we're going to piece these together. So I'm just going to move my frame for a minute. I'm just having a look-see to make sure that's correct. Yep. So I'm going to flip these over on the opposite side, and we're just going to take washi tape. Just whatever you happen to have on hand. I usually have one stashed away here in my drawer. And you're just going to adhere them together with washi tape. And it only has to be done at the one side. It kind of just holds it together while you are going to put it down on your frame. So there they are. And here's my frame. So as you can tell, it's only going to very gently cover the frame. And I did put my flowers up top and my stripes down below. You can do it however you want. And there's two ways you can do it. You can put your adhesive along the border of your frame and then stick this down, or you can put your adhesive along here and then stick it down. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to flip it over to see how much we have in the line of clearance. Not too bad. And then what I did afterwards is I reinforced it with sewing. But I won't be doing the sewing today. That's something that I do offline. I'm just looking for some double-sided tape. You can use your tape runner. You can use double-sided, whatever floats your boat. You can use wet adhesive. I'm just doing a 1/4 inch all the way around. What's everybody up to today? You guys are getting pounded with the snow. We've had some snow. There, as I'm talking, I'm just seeing a weather warning came up, but the wind that we've been experiencing the last 3 days. Now today it calmed down, but I just see that the wind warning come back up when we're supposed to have some snow with some ice pellets and freezing rain. I'd rather just have the snow. I'm really not a fan of the ice. So you're not going to put any adhesive in the center because, you know, you have a hole. Unless you didn't bother cutting it out. And that's totally up to you too. Instead of using the same color cardstock where I'm using it on the layout, you could use white or whatever other color matches the paper. Now I find it tricky, and I'm probably going to stand up so I can hover over, but I find this part a little bit tricky because I can't see. I can only there, not too bad. And if you got any stickies here, you just have to take your powder tool and run it over, but we're all good. So step 1 done. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to cut a 1-inch strip from, this is the love notes, and, oh no, this is our story, sorry. Getting ahead of myself. This is love notes. So we're going to cut a 1-inch strip, and it's pretty much, what you really want to do is just cut a row. So a row of these stamps. And we want to trim it down we're going to paste it over our seams. And what I did is I kind of went this way. And I always keep a pencil handy. And I'm just going to take a pencil and just draw a dash where it ends. And then I'm going to snip that piece off on my trimmer. Because of the all the post-its, I kind of want it to keep them together. And then we're going to paste this right down here. So instead of having this division, you have something that's in common for both sides. The patterns on this paper is just so pretty. And it doesn't really matter if you get more on the top or more on the bottom. You just kind of do your best to make it even. Now I didn't get right to the edge there, but that's not bothering me because my photo mat is going to cover that. I did not print another photo for this one. I'll just use a photo mat for today. So now we're going to take our remainder solid piece that we cut out and we put aside, so this one, and we are going to cut two pieces that's 4.5 by 9. So I'm going to do my 9 first. And then 4.5. And I think I just said 2 pieces because my first one was exactly half when I cut it. This one isn't exactly in half, but that's okay. So now from this one here, so this is 4.5 by 9. We're going to trim it to be 3.5 by 9. So we're going to narrow it just a little bit more. So we have this piece. And now you're going to take, okay, I'm just reading my instructions. We're going to take a border punch, and I'm using a scallop. This is like one of the knockouts. And I like taking it and putting it on my mat to measure, because anytime I have a strip going across my page, I'd like to try to start in the center when possible. So if I line up my punch, and there's a little mark on the punch that tells me the center, so the center's with this black line. And then if I put my page in, and then I can measure the squares here, and I push it into the punch. Hi, Linda, no worries. I kind of jacked around the schedule a bit. And then I'll do one side and then move it to the other side. And I like pushing my paper into the punch because it tends to stay straighter that way. I used to try to hold my punch in my hand, and that never worked for me. And another couple should do it. There. So I had it pretty centered. As you can see, the two ends kind of end the same way. And it depends on where it's at in your layout, if that's really important to you or not. If I'm off, it's not that important to me. But if I get it on, that's okay. That works. I'm just going to put my punch to the side. Turn back our page. And this little one's going to tuck in right at the bottom here. So I'm just going to read my instructions to make sure there's nothing else I have to do before I can stick this down. Nope, we're all good. And you could definitely use the mint side if you wanted to instead of the pink or the red. But I do like the red. I find it's more contrast with the paper. And we're just going to go in probably about 3/4 of an inch to an inch off of the left hand side, butt it up against those postage strips, and there you go. Hi Deborah. So for those that are joining in late, this is the project we're doing today. The last time I looked, there was a few kits left at the store, so grab them up if there are. So now I'm going to grab the 4x6 that I saved. The first layout I did, I used these two birds because I had this lovely picture of my husband and I, but today I don't have a picture picked out yet, so I'm just going to put P.S. I love you, and that can be any kind. Now I am going to trim mine a little bit just because there's a little bit of an overhang from the other 4x6. And this is where this extra piece that you have left over is going to come into play. So we're going to mat it. And an easiest way to mat, and you can do all the measuring, but I just trimmed a bit so it's not a true 4x6. But one of my favorite ways to mat, it won't fit this way, so I'm going to go this way, is I stick it down, leaving just about 1/8 of an inch. And then again, I take my pencil and I find about 1/8 of an inch, make a little dash, and the same on this side, and then I take it to the trimmer and trim it down. I have good luck doing it this way. This is the only way I ever did it. I never measured, but until I did learn, and measuring has definitely got its advantages, but you don't have to measure exactly all the time. So now we're going to make this into a pocket. So on my layout, this I adhered it down on the bottom and up each side, and these are actually going to come out, and it's going to work well in a scrapbook page for me anyway, because my pages, they're top loading, so these will be able to be taken in and out. And it's on these that you can really write any personal stories you have about the pictures, or any special dates or anything like that. So we're going to do that next, and I am going to use, now you can definitely do a notch here. I didn't on my other one, but you can definitely do a notch. Let's do that. I'm just going to grab a punch. Oh, it's a little bit too small. The 1-inch punch is good. I don't have many punches, but I do have circle punches. Hi, Michelle. Thank you. Now, if you want to find out, again, this is why I love this mat. If you want to find out where your center is, then you just count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 6 squares. So my center is going to be right here. You just made a little notch and pop it out. So you just made a little notch there for your pocket. And we're going to glue on all sides but not the top. So I'll start over here. And it doesn't matter what size tape because the tags are really slim. And you can stack them in there, so you don't have to worry about using, I wouldn't use 1 inch, but this is 1/4 of an inch. The other thing you can do is you could put foam tape if you want your pocket to pop up, if you wanted to put more things in your pocket. Maybe you have a love note from your secret admirer that you wanted to tuck in there for safekeeping. It would be really nice, like, you know, when your kids are tiny and they write you little notes. we had one of those and tuck it in and then put a picture of you and that child. That would be nice. So we're just going to put it up here. Now I did go up on the cardstock base some because I wanted to make sure my tickets were accessible from my page. And then these are my tickets. Which ones am I going to choose? They're on both sides, so I'm not going to choose that one because that's kind of the same as that. Happily Ever After, I like that one. That's kind of the same as that. Love You. But I'll put it in this way. And I'll put the twine, so you can just put some twine through it. And that's a pretty one. But I'm going to trim down that side a little. Well, I don't think I have to. Don't need to be so fussy, Sherry. And then we have 2 tags, which I used on my cards, but I'm going to put them aside. Now, where are we? So we did the border punch. Look over your remaining pieces of your... Look over remaining 4x6 to see if there's any cutouts or words that you want to use from it. Oh, I probably should have did that before I matted, but there wasn't really anything that I wanted on it. Oh, no, here it is. So my 4x6s. So what I'm saying is look at them. So whichever ones you have left over. So it's this on this side, 4x6s on here. And just see if there's anything you want to cut out. So like if you wanted to fussy cut out something, if you wanted this word together cut out. I might scoot out that word, so I'm just going to use my trimmer because it's pretty straight. And then I'll just do a little fussy cutting and keep this word. I don't know yet if I'm going to use it, but it sounds like the rest of that paper we're just kind of using it for bits and pieces. So we should cut out anything that we want to save. I'm just going to put that right up there for now. How you all doing today? Trim A, so we're going to go find the love notes again. Love notes. Love notes, and we are going to trim 3/4 inch by 5. We're going to be using this part, I do believe. Just having a look here. Yeah, and we're going to be doing some border punching. I don't think that's it though. It says love notes. No, I wrote that down wrong. I'm looking at my picture. It is this paper. So the same as that. And I have this piece left, so I'm just going to I'm going to do my border punch first, and then I'll trim it down. It's easier to trim down after you punch it. And I'm not worrying about the center this time because we only need a 5-inch piece. I wonder if writing instructions down is worth it. Sometimes I double guess or double think myself, or did I get that right? So we're actually at 5. So I'm just going to trim that right off. And this is the piece that we want. And I'm going to look behind and get a photo mat that is 4x6. I can't wait for, actually they're probably in the box here beside me. I got a box from Unique, and I ordered some of those lovely page markers that has the writing on them for the different size photos. Now I'm showing you one photo of a 4x6 vertical. You can certainly do a couple of 3x4s. You know, you can do whatever you want. So I'm just going to cut a piece of this paper. And when I use photo mats, I want thin paper because I don't want to add any bulk. Often I'm the one that's going back and putting the pictures. But yeah, you could easily fit 2 4x6s or a 5x7. So my picture is going to go here. This is going at the bottom of my photo. So I can adhere that down. Oh, you get so much snow. I feel bad for you. I am going to put my photo mat down because when I decide what photo I want on here, I can paste it right over it. So remember I said I'm not worried about this little part here. It's because I'm going to put my photo mat down to cover that. And you can use either side. I kept with the same pattern, but if you like the other side, feel free. Yes, I was reading how much snow, and I think you're getting more, right? Last February was kind of very wintry as well. So this is the this is chipboard, and I'm just looking for the word P.S. I love you. That's the one that I cut out from the 4x6 for the other one. So I'm not going to do anything yet with the chipboard. We still have some small pieces of paper to cut. So again, find some leftover, 40 centimeters, holy smokes, leftover piece of this stripey stripe bit, and we are going to, actually this is perfect size. It is actually. So it's a 1x6. And that's how I usually design my pages, is as I'm cutting things out, I just look over my scrap pile and I pull it out. So you can decide if you want your stripes to go the same way if you can, or different. I kind of like them going like this. So I'm going to put this down. And you can flag it if you wanted to flag it. And you could try to line it up if it works out for you, but this isn't working out for me, so I'm going to put it like that. And then we need some pieces off of the stamps again, but it's this part. And don't worry about your letters, they're not going to read anything, so don't worry about that. We're going to cut a few different trims. So we need one that is 1/4 of an inch by 12. And then we're going to cut that 1/4 into a 4-inch piece and an 8-inch piece. Now see, in this case, I'm going to recut it because I know I have lots of paper, but it's just like little baubles. There's not even any numbers on it. So my next cut, or letters, the next cut I make, you'll see some of the letters. And then you're going to cut a 4-inch and an 8-inch. The 8-inch is going down right here on the bottom, butt it right up against that pattern paper. So this is very skinny. I'm going to take my liquid glue for this one. few classes this month. I still have one with Paper Rose collection, which is very nice. I didn't really like the picture because nothing stuck down because I didn't have enough of the paper to make like a sample. So I did some pre-cutting and kind of just laid everything on top, and I'll glue it down during the class. And this little piece is going to go right on top of here. Okay. And I'm going to put these down here. And when I get my photo, I'll butt the photo right up against this, and it will go up higher. So we also need another piece of this same pattern, but it is 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to do my 3/4 inch. And cut it by 5. And that's going to go right here. Now you can use foam tape if you want to add some dimension. I'm good with it flat because I'm going to get a little bit of dimension with the chipboard. And again, you could flag this if you wanted. So now we're going to get into the decorating because the building is actually done. And as you can see, it didn't take us long at all. And you still have lots of scraps left. Now this is my together. So for this one I put the PS I love you there. So I might put the together down here. And I probably will pop this one up. So I can still go in even after and trim it up. Or put some sewing on it. I'm looking for my foam tape. Okay. And then we're going to put this one down here. And then we're going to just embellish it a little bit. So I'm going to decide what I'm going to use from what I have left. And then you can really deck out cards. Again, if you're a double page scrapbooker, like you have tons left over if you don't want to do the cards, to really Darren, I just have to ask them to be quiet a little bit out there. They forget that I'm doing this. So what do we got? We got the big scrolly love. I did do a little cluster down here. So let's look at the paper that we have left, because that's fun. That's always fun. If your embellishments are slim, Mother Nature needs to take a hike. Yeah, I hear ya. If your embellishments are slim, just look through your paper and see what you can trim up. This is the one I want. So I love this piece of paper. So you see these like little banners and flags? This is what this was made out of down here. So I just cut 2 of those out together. I took the butterfly from one of the papers. These were chipboard butterflies, and this was chipboard, and this was chipboard. But let's see what we can find. Oh, and this little tag was another one of the tags that I just flipped up on its edges. So let's see what we can cut. I do like this one here, this kind of blue. I want to draw some other colors in. We got one. The snow's pretty, but you have enough, yeah. Once you get enough for your children to play in and have fun, then you don't need any more. Yeah, I do like these. So there's this one here, So in Love, Love. So I can do it like that. I love my tiny attacher. Just returned from Costa Rica. Oh, yeah, that's kind of a kick in the teeth, isn't it? When you go down to the sunny spots of our world. And then you have to endure the snow. It's like you're no longer climatized. So I'm just going to leave that here for a minute, but I think, well, let me just pop it right up while I'm here. Because I was going to say, I know I'm going to pop it up. Oh, I cut one too many. You guys doing any crafts this weekend? Tomorrow's a holiday, so that's nice. I'll continue. I'm working on my Hunky Dory cards. I'm really liking them, but I'll let you in on a secret, and not really a secret, but I will post it in the description. Just having the cardstock in the Hunky Dory punch things for the cards, I needed more. So I went into my own stash and pulled out some pattern paper that matched with the Hunky Dory color palette and really decorated the paper with the pattern paper as well. So if you buy one of the kits for the Hunky Dory, you won't get the pattern paper. But what's really nice is you get to use your own stash stuff. So I love blending new and old stuff together. I love that, and I do it as often as I can because it just brings new life to your things. So I am having fun. I have one more card to make, so your kit, you have enough for 12 cards. So I'm doing 6, and I'll do 6 live with you. They're a little bit different patterns, but it's going to be the same card design, so that's going to be really fun. I'm looking for one more something right there. Well, I'm going to move on to the chipboard to see, maybe I'll get my blanks filled there. So we have this nice big love story that I like. I like the camera. I like that one there. So I am going to put some foam tape on the chipboard for just some extra dimension. That's why I didn't pop any of these layers up, because I knew I wanted to have this kind of pop. Now all this other sticky chipboard, I just take my powder tool and pull it off before I take the backing off of my pop-up. If you don't, I find sometimes it kind of pushes it in and does something weird to the embellishment on your page. That must be this way it goes. And I'll still have room to tuck my photo in down there. We definitely have a bunch of these little hearts that we can incorporate. So I'm gonna, and if I don't put pop, I do add some extra liquid adhesive. I just don't trust the adhesive on these. So I'm just gonna tuck that right under, or together. So we actually have 3 hearts left on the chipboard, and I'm going to use them all. One, 2, and I'm going to put one up here, which will be nice when get our photo on. So I got one there. I want to put a little something here. That typewriter just looks a little bit large for me. Oh, I like these books though. That's going to sit nicely right here. So I'm just going to put some liquid. And now you can, if you're a stitcher, like you can still go in and stitch all across here and all the way around. That's what I did with my first page. Now let's see what else we have left here. Is there anything I want to pull? And sometimes, if the designs match, like this pen that's there, it's pretty much the same size as this one. So I'm going to put this one on top, and it just makes it, give it some dimension. I like doing that. So you just cover it right up, and this time the pen is popped up. And I could do the same thing with this here seal. But I do like the teal seal. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I think we're just about there. Oh, I was going to look, see if I could find any butterflies on my leftover paper. See one. Now it really depends if you want to save these, because these on them themselves make nice card fronts, but I am going to cut this one out just to have at least one butterfly. And I'll talk through my process for how I made my cards. It's the same as what we did the last time we used leftovers from a layout. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, just go back to a past video that I did with a layout, and then we made, I think another video was we made cards with the leftovers from that layout. And I walked you through my process that I use, and that's kind of what I use. Let's see, almost there. There. And even though in a layout, once you put them in your book, the little butterflies are going to flatten, I do like kind of doing them, popping them up. What you can do is put a couple of pop dots underneath the wings, and it kind of keeps it. I just have to decide where I want my butter flutter. Maybe right there. I like that. So I'm going to take some pop dots and put them on my big wings first. I'll get in my pop dot drawer. These big ones just kind of fit in there. And I'm going to put some glue on the body. And at least when they lay down, they'll stay a little popped, and sometimes you have to hold your finger. Now if my stapler could get in there that far, Costa Rica is the best, I would have put a staple in there. But that is our layout, and I hope you like it. This was the original, and the only difference is there's some stitching, the embellishments are different, and there's an actual photo on there. But all in all, it's kind of the same. I'm glad you guys are getting away for trips. Now let me show you the cards. So when you're making cards from leftover paper that you've scrapbooked with, this is kind of my process for how do I know how many cards I'm going to make and all that good stuff. So I take my biggest pieces of paper that I have left, and I decide which ones would make good bases for my cards. This one, definitely. So I would cut out as many 4 by 5 1/4 bases, because when I say bases, it's just kind of the pattern paper, and then I'm going to put them on top of the actual card white base. So I'd get probably 2 or maybe 3 out of that. You could use this one as a base because it is busy, but you'll have lots of it covered up. That one I'd leave. This one, absolutely. And then this one I'd probably leave because I'd use that to embellish and pull more out of my cards. So I'll show you the 4 that I did, and I had enough stuff that I could probably do another 2. But what I want to do is decorate my envelopes. So I'll have white envelopes that go with these. So I will take the bits and pieces that I still have left over and make envelopes. So this one I used the flower pattern. So instead of the green side, I used this side. So like you cut them out and then you can decide which side you want to use as your card base. And then I did another piece of this, so probably a 3 by 4 piece of that typewriter, and then this one here was actually one of the 3 by 4s. So it was one of these ones, but I had the other piece of, because I only had half sheets, so it was one of those cards. So again, have a look at that. Yes, you can make card bases, but have a look at the other side to make sure there's not a little card that you want to put on the front of a card. And then I just did some cutouts of that same paper with all the tickets. I did foam this up, and then some little sequins. And on the inside was just a strip of paper that was hanging around, had no home, so threw it on. And that's what I'll do to decorate the envelopes. I'll take different pieces of strips of paper and just decorate the envelopes. You guys know my story. So another one with the flower base. This time I had a piece of the yellow, so that pink, and we probably had hints of the green left because our base this time was more greeny. So like I had pieces of this, but it was in yellow, and it was probably the piece, look, pretty much just trimmed down a little bit. and then another one of those 3x4 cards, a little strip of that typewriter paper, and did a banner with a piece left over and cut out another one of those tickets. And that's that one. And then just did an inside with the typewriter. This one I did a little flippity flap. So again, it was one of those 3x4 little tag, or not tags, but little squares. And I just did a 1/2 inch hinge, and inside it says Our Story. And this one I put down the green. And then this leaves you something, a space to write as well. Butterfly, but on the inside you still have more real estate to write. And then the last one I did was a simple little pocket. So I had a base. I have enough of that stripe paper that I made it a base. And these are the 2 tags that were left. And this was one of the 4x4 squares. And just like on our layout, I adhered 3 sides and made it a pocket. You could also make this like a money card or a gift card. You could do a little notch if you wanted to make sure. And then you have the inside. So like these are just great ways to use up your stash. One time I would take all my scraps and I'd put it back in a bag and I'd store it. But I got to know myself well enough that if I don't create something with the scraps as soon as I'm done the main project, I may as well just throw them out then and there, because they're just going to kick around and take up space. So that is our projects for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get some inspiration. If you're interested in a kit, there'll definitely be more paper in your kit than what I had, I do believe. So you'll be able to make like a double layout, and then maybe even a single, or cards, or whatever it is that you would like to do. So that is it for today. I can't wait to catch up with Ricky and Lucy this evening and see all the new stuff they got, Angela. Thanks for teasing. And as soon as I get the Hunky Dory cards done, which I'll have them done tonight. So tomorrow I'll post a picture of them and post my class for that. Thank you, Linda. You're very kind. We'll talk real soon. Bye, everyone.